password to this computer. Here we go. We are recording. So if you don't want to be forever remembered, you know, this is the wrong team to be on because we're going to live forever now. Welcome to Teach Anything, parentheses, Hackathons. I'm Tippi Fifestarr, your host, coming live with lots of books and lots of new friends. So we'll just, without further ado, we've already got a bug in the system. What's happening, Figma? How could you do this to me? Hold on. This is how we start. We start with a bug because hackathons are about bugs. Now, why is this happening? These items need to be taken out and then put back in because that is how Figma works. Out, in. Okay, now let's go. Yes.
Sorry, I'm late.
No problem. No problem. We're just
I had to jump off another call.
No problem.
How's everything going?
We're good. We're recording, and can you see my screen?
Give me 1 second. Catching up. Yes.
Yes, we see your screen.
Teach Anything Hackathons. Yes.
Great. All right. So this is my intro, and here we go. So the empowerment promises of today is, first of all, you're going to learn at least something. Let me make this bigger. Full screen. Boom. Okay. Yeah. So very first of all, I can promise you, I'll let you know what I've been up to since you last saw me. Because I'm going to tell you right now. My hackathon team just won a Chainlink top prize, quality prize. It's not about the money, and definitely is not enough money to make much of a difference for all of us. But we were trying, now it's stimulating the conversation. What do we do with that money? How does, do we cash out the team members, or do we invest it in the project? And what would be a good investment of a few $100? I don't know exactly how much it is. What else is up? I've been working on a hackathon workshop worksheet for anybody that's interested in starting up a hackathon in your DAO, for example, or in your imagination. Well, we have a worksheet for you, and it actually comes out of our own experience building the meta hackathon, the hackathon about hackathons. And we brought in a designer, and she said, you know, I need more clarity, and asked us these really hard questions. And because it was valuable for us, even though we'd spent months planning this hackathon, it was still valuable. I realized for someone who hasn't spent any time thinking about what they really want or who they want to come, these questions would be extremely valuable. So we made a little worksheet. I might, if we have time at the end, I might unveil it, but in the interest of time, it's very important that you know that time is a metric, and I am keeping track of it, even though it seems I'm not. So everybody's gonna have 20 minutes, including this talk. In fact, I'm gonna try to finish in 10 minutes or so, and then we'll have 5 minutes for the outro. Lastly, we are still planning a meta hackathon, but we've delayed it till January, and probably the first project we're gonna build is a button that is a delay button. So if we can get 50 people to press don't delay, or start now, or start as soon as possible, then we'll actually start the hackathon. But if we can't get 50 registration / users to say, come on, do it, then we're going to delay it another month, and then work harder, make better plans, make better marketing, go out there, DM everybody, hey, could you press the button? So that's the plan. We're going to build a button, two buttons with like a little back end and some, information. So that's me. That's what Tippi's been up to. The next thing you're going to learn immediately is something about each other, something about us. And that last part, I don't know what you're going to learn. Maybe you can tell us at the end of this 80-minute variety fest of anythings about hackathons, something that you learned, and that would be great. So what is this? What is this Teach Anything that I'm doing? Well, you can see here, there's a lot of slide decks in my Figma for previous Teach Anythings. These are all of them. I have a very simple procedure now that I've done this so many times. I put in the date, I update the screenshot with the current like big picture, and I go through slide by slide, updating and changing it to fit the needs, the current situation of my brain. I've removed a word from here. If you've been to previous ones, you can type in the answer, and anybody who does that will feel smart when I tell you what the answer is later. And you don't want to forget that the key thing is it's more than just slides. It's more than just teaching. It's more than just like wrangling people into the same room together. It's also the things that happened before, the history and the context of what it is. So I've been assembling this list of previous people and their levels, and today's lineup is not just me. We've got number one, Cromewar. Say hi, Chrome.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Mic check passed. Is that the correct title for your talk?
Kind of a little bit different, but we are going to get to that.
Okay, good. I was expecting something like that. And Shomari, can we get a mic check?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, is that the right title?
Yes.
All right. And then Alex.
Check.
Nice. All right. Did I do you justice with this title here?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Okay. All right. So yeah, there's, this is that. Okay. So the first thing I like for us to do, if possible, is I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second, and let's all do, like in that screenshot, let's get a little group photo here to, so one thing you can do to make it interesting is if you have a book or something interesting, hold it up, just get something, some object, and obscure some part of the image with that, and we'll count it down and do a nice, okay, yeah, you can have many seconds for this. And this is just, yeah, nice. Yeah, let's get some books in here. Trees, that man does love trees. Chrome, yes.
You want a book? I'm
Or,
using this just now.
It
I have
doesn't
some
have to,
currency here.
yeah,
I have
anything.
one over here. Let's use the
All right,
original.
hold it up.
I've got a $1,000 bill here.
If you have a camera and you could turn it on, that would be good. But if not, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay. Oh, John, I may have missed you going off camera. Should we try again? Well, okay, there's a video. No, there's a video. We'll just snip it from the video later. With technology, we can make it through this together. Okay, so back to the thing. Hackathons, time. These are the materials that we're working with here. As you know, if you run out of time, if you start late, then what happens? You don't have enough time to make your project perfect. And I know for a fact that this hackathon that I just completed, if I had started it on time with the idea and the team, we would have probably won the top prize, because I really believe in what we built as being something awesome. But what we did build in the short amount of time that we had still got recognition, and that's enough to get us, excited and maybe keep going with it. So the first thing you got to know is we're keeping track of time. I have 12 minutes left in this intro space before we pass it to the next teacher. And so what you need to know about Teach Anything is it comes from that guy in the previous photo, Jorge Lucero, who was my mentor, still is. He was my teacher in high school, and now he's a professor of art pedagogy at University of Illinois. And he invented this framework to empower his new teachers and to say to them when they're coming to learn how to teach, actually, you're already teacher. We're already all teachers in different ways, and let's give each other space. And then what he would do is after the 3 weeks of that, he would present to everybody a reflection of these are the teacher-like things you did. You made slides, you prepared jokes, whatever you did, he would be writing it down. And this is one thing that I want to figure out a good way for Teach Anything to decentralize. So the audience members start creating these articulations about teaching. But for now, it's just anything goes. your performance is your performance, your honor is your honor. And if you want to level up, well, come back and do it again and do better and you'll level up. So that's all the stuff, the downloading. And now we are here to learn something about each other. The key factor is I'm going to be keeping track of time. So Chrome, Shomari, and Alex, this is the time where we can do the settings. So traditionally 1 or 5 minutes before your time is up, I will unmute and make a quack noise while holding a small duck up to the camera. You can change the sounds or the timing of that if you would like. All right. I'm not hearing any.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with the duck.
Yeah, I'm
Duck.
fine with that.
You're all fine with the duck.
Yep.
This is the duck that will appear, and it will say quack, and that is your clue that you are running. You got to wrap it up, you know. But now we're on to the icebreaker, which has evolved over many different iterations, but it's always plug and play. So today's icebreaker is about hackathons. So we're going to have 150 seconds, and don't do the math, it's 2.5 minutes. Write a list of 5 hackathons that you attended or you wish you could attend, or if you haven't been to a hackathon and don't even know what it is, well, make something up. Write a list, eliminate 4 and choose 1. And when you're ready, after this 2.5 minutes, which hasn't started yet, you're going to present yourself in a sentence such as, I'm Tippi from Chicago. I chose the Chainlink Fall 2022 Hackathon because it's full of good ideas like me. And in that way, you teach us something about yourself and you share a little something that you're interested. People tend to sometimes struggle with the like me part of it. Do your best. If you could fit that format in one single sentence, we're going to get through everybody in enough time. So
I don't know anything about hackathons, so can I just come up with something else?
yeah, you could say 5 things that you think might be a hackathon or something like that. Just try to fit things into hackathons, or maybe use this time to Google what is a hackathon and just make something up, but or do whatever you want. But we'll save you for last. So is there any questions before I move to the next slide and start the timer, other than what's a hackathon? Okay, ready, begin. Start writing, everybody. So a list of hackathons, you choose 5 you like, isolate 1, and use that anything to introduce yourself with your name, where you're from, where you're based maybe, what you chose, and why you chose it, and why it's like you. A little simple little icebreaker. Chrome, are you already done? You can text Melinda some hints of things she could say. We're gonna have to get Melinda a hackathon survival guide. I think that's what we're gonna make that. Yeah, you could feel free to say the Tippi's meta hackathon, because I don't know what the reason would be. All right, we got about 30 seconds left. And I'm just gonna pick someone, and then once I pick you, you go, then you pick someone who hasn't gone before. So pay attention to who's gone, or you'll be slightly embarrassed. And we'll just start it with Chrome. Take it away, Chrome.
Well, everyone, I'm Chrome. My real name is Vasily. I'm from Ecuador. I chose Morales Hackathon because it was full of good people with passion for Web3 and crypto in general, just like me. So yeah, that was it. And I am going to choose John as next.
Hi, I'm John. I'm from New York. I chose the Chainlink 2022 Hackathon because it was my favorite team to work with. And I am going to choose Pablo.
I'm going to disappoint you, John. My name's Pablo. I worked with John on that hackathon, but I'm going to choose StarkNet hackathon. It was in Amsterdam at the DevCon Amsterdam, because the food was cooked by like, this was for like a 24-hour hackathon. We had like 4 meals, and all the food was cooked by like a Michelin star chef. And I'll pass it on to Simple Pixie Life.
Hello. So this is Simple Pixie Life from Istanbul. So I wish I attended any hackathon before, but I didn't. Still, I really want to attend ETH Istanbul in May, actually in 2023, if it's gonna happen. And I really want to involve CityDAO to it. Why? So, because I want to start a project internationally for CityDAO, you know, other than the US. So we have these great projects, but it's all related to US. So I want to, let's say, start an international project. And I really want to spread to other communities like Thai, Chinese, maybe Nigeria, then Europe. And as far as I understand so far, so hackathons are really a great way to show our passion for Web3. So yeah, so let's pass it to Melinda.
Well, I would be very interested in hearing any updates about that, because I stayed in Istanbul last year, and I'm planning to move there. I'm applying to a job there, so wish me luck on the job.
When?
Maybe by then, maybe by May. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, keep me informed if you need anything.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, obviously the newbie here, but I do. Okay, so my name's Melinda. I'm from Columbus, and I chose the Meta Hackathon because it was a great suggestion, genuinely great, because I actually do think the meta cognitive perspective is, I don't know, kind of what I need right now. Like, what is the process? How do they work? So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm going to go with Klemen Skornicek next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Klemen from everywhere, but currently from Plovdiv, Bulgaria. I chose NearCon's 2022 in Real Life Hackathon because they sponsored my first crypto conference. And I will choose DanJ0X.
Oh, there we go. Hey, everybody. I'm Danjo. I'm from Cleveland. I've been in 2 hackathons. One was just like a timed thing. That one doesn't really count. And then I was in one with Mr. Tipster over here. I don't remember what it was called, but that one was insane.
NFT hack. It was a weekend one.
And that was insane. Yeah. That was crazy. That was really fun. I think the question actually was, if I could have attended one, which one would that be? And I would love to go to like a Raspberry Pi hackathon in person and see a bunch of crazy engineers like building robotic stuff and like controlling them with Raspberry Pis. I think that would just be so much fun.
So you want to pass it to either Shomari or Kenichi?
Shomari.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shomari. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. And I chose Geek Denver 2022. It was my first time attending that event after many years of wanting to attend it. And the reason I have to say that was my favorite hackathon because they had open bar every day that started at 3 p.m. and that was just right at my so I plan on attending again in 23 and having just as much fun as I did last year, earlier this year. I will pass it on to Kenichi.
Hi everyone. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Hi. It's cool. I'm not using the video, right? Or should I switch it? But I think it's cool. Anyways. Kenichi. Real name is Finch from Lagos. Not really been to a hackathon yet, but if I was to pick one, it would be the Microsoft Imagine Cup. I've actually dreamt of it. I think the most recent one was in, I don't know, I think it was Seattle, I think. Yeah, but I like it because of the fact about the bringing of change, solving real world problems. And apart from that, the innovations they bring to the game. And it just, it feels like something I really want to like put my best in and something like that. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you very much. And I think, Alex, are you the last but not least?
I think I am. I'm Alex. I'm from Pittsburgh. I haven't been to a hackathon, but I'm excited about the Web3 Library Hackathon, which I got to learn more about, but I like it because it's the closest and I want to try it.
Nice. Great. And maybe there's some sort of CityDAO hackathon coming up. Who knows? Thank you very much, everybody. Well, we did it. You learned something about each other. You did it. And that is worth it, a little something. So we're out of time, but in the chat, you can leave a little comment about something you've learned, or at the end of the whole experience, you could leave a comment or DM me or whatever you want. Come to the Web3 Library Discord channel and post about this, or post in CityDAO, who is sponsoring this one. So again, big thanks to Jorge Lucero, who's the seed that this idea came from, Derek from SporkDAO, CityDAO, of course, CabinDAO, Web3 Library, my parents, who were my first teachers, and of course the old one, Laozi. So thank you so much. And without further ado, pretty much right on schedule, we're gonna pass it to Mr. Chrome.
Nice. So instead of letting me share the screen, could you just pin me up, because I'm using OBS, so I'm going to do this and be changing between, the camera. And so just, can you pin me?
You've been pinned, and it's great.
So anyone can see me? Yeah.
I think everyone has to pin separately, but you just press
really?
the little ellipses thing on his camera and then just click in.
I just spotlighted him for everyone. That might be what I needed to do.
Oh yeah, no, I'm also pinning myself right now. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mentoring Hackathon Teams, how it is like and why you should care about it. So for those here who don't know what hackathons are, they are just big events, especially in the crypto space, on which you can earn money, build cool projects, and redefine what internet is. So with further ado, let's start with my presentation today. About me, I'm a semi-hackathon addict. I stopped when I had the chance because we all know Tippi, and Tippi is an actual former addict, and he knows that becoming a hackathon addict is not a good deal. And nowadays I'm working as a content creator at Morales. I participated on a bunch of hackathons, and I also made some Web3 freelance projects. But enough about me, and let's talk about the actual topic we were going to talk today. So first of all, I'm going to ask you everyone, does anyone here have experience on mentorship? And seriously, guys and girls, I'm asking, anyone here have experience on mentorship? You don't have to say something, so just raise your hand. Yeah, nice. That's great. So let's continue. No, this one. Yeah. So why mentorship is important? Well, first of all, it's really easy to get lost when you start a hackathon, even though most of the submission phases are on that post and we are kind of really get used to submit there. Every hackathon has different register forms, different events. Sometimes you got into Zoom, sometimes you got on GatherTown, sometimes you have different things that make the experience kind of strange at first, because even if you are used to hackathons, always you feel like kind of lost because you don't know what you have to do or where you have to go or what is the next step. So it's a really high necessity on hackathons for have people just to guide you up. Also, hackathons are the first approach most of newcomers have on Web3, because you start on Web3, maybe you take a course, code some smart contracts and learn what Bitcoin or Ethereum is, and then everyone is going to tell you, go and participate on a hackathon. So if this is the first impression we are giving to newcomers to the space, it's important that experience to be great, and having mentors on the process is really important. Also, and I'm not lying here, some projects could have become the next billion-dollar protocol if they had a little mentoring. It's crazy the amount of ideas I saw this past year, crazy projects, crazy ideas, which could become the next big protocol, and they just were left, or they abandoned the team, or the team were really frustrated and they said something like, okay, I don't want to keep working on this because it's really hard and we are really frustrated. So great ideas are already lost because they don't have good mentors. And also, well, not that important, but it improves the company and the protocol image on the space, because let's be honest here, if you participate on a hackathon, which one you are going to remember? The one with cool mentors which helped you all through all the process, or the ones boring and difficult to pass by? So yeah, mentorship is really important. So now I'm going to share some experience with you. My first hackathon was a Chainlink hackathon, and back then I was a really shy person. I really didn't like to talk. I wouldn't give a speech like I'm doing right now because I was the kind of person who never would do something like that. And I found hard time to find teammates. So I decided, okay, I'm going to go through this project by myself. And I failed because I couldn't finish the project. The project was too big for me. Some parts of the sponsor technology I didn't understood, and I was really frustrated. So I understand how you go into a hackathon could be both an amazing experience, but also something really frustrating and sad for you. So for this last hackathon, in this case, I'm referring to the last Chainlink hackathon, I made a decision. So I decided to not participate on that hackathon, but help other teams instead. I said myself, okay, I'm going to become a mentor for other teams. I already knew some colleagues and friends of mine which were going to participate. So I talked with them and I said, I want to help you through this because I already go through all the hackathon process, especially on a Chainlink hackathon. So how it was and what I've learned from it. First of all, you have to understand that as in every place, hackathons are no exception. People are different and you are going to encounter different kinds of person, and they have really different problems. Let me just, oh, okay. Yeah, I just went into hide myself. So depending on their skill level, they have different problems when they are approaching to a hackathon. For the newcomers, their problems are kind of easy because they just want to know how to set up a tool, how to submit into that post, how to register. And that's something that anyone who have passed even just a single hackathon can help with. But for experienced developers, they have also really hard problems to solve, because they were like, okay, why this API is not connecting and not giving the actual response, on why my backend is not working as it should. And sometimes you are not someone who knows everything, and they might ask you questions you don't know how to answer because maybe you never work with the technology they are working. So you always have to take in mind, if you want to become a mentor, that you are going to find people with different backgrounds and with different skills. And also, depending on their skills, there are different reasons why they join a hackathon. For the newcomers, most of them just want to learn some new thing and be part of something and just engage on the Web3 space, on the community. But for experienced developers, I found that they are more focused on the prices or into actually build something valuable. Some of them were, okay, I'm going to create this protocol. Yes, I'm participating for the money, but after the hackathon, I want to take this protocol and create a company out of it. And again, the way you mentor them is different because the experienced developer would want you to help also with the technology, but also with the business plan. And the newcomers, they are going to be happy just if you give them a hand with some part of code or anything else. Other thing you must know about being a mentor on a hackathon is you have to expect the unexpected. What I mean with this is that even you think you have all the things arranged, even if you think you have the control, something always is going to happen. Maybe you are going to forget to answer one important email or one important request to them. Maybe they are going to have a really crazy idea you don't have to overcome. So if you want to be a mentor, just expect the unexpected. Also, keep in mind that you are not only going to give them technical advice, because even if I help them with, the technicals, the coding, the submitting part, 50% of the work was helping emotionally, because it's not new for anyone on a hackathon that 90% of hackathon teams end up falling apart. And yes, these are totally made up statistics, but my point is most of the teams end up falling apart for various reasons. And this is really frustrating. And some team members say that, okay, my team members abandoned me and I don't want to continue with this project. So you have to give them like motivation. You have to say to them, keep going. You can do this. Your idea is great. Don't give up. So yeah, 50% of the mentorship was for me helping them emotionally rather than just technically. Also, you have to know that being a mentor is really heavily time consuming and really exhausting. At some point, I thought that a mentorship meeting would take like just 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and I end up wasting investing 2 or 3 hours helping them, because yes, you have to acknowledge this. And if you really want to become a mentor, know that you are going to spend a lot of time with them. Also, there is an important question here. Should everyone become a mentor? And the answer is yesn't. Let me explain myself. If you went through one hackathon or maybe 2 hackathons, you already have some experience about, submitting, about how the hackathon works. Maybe you have a little bit of experience with the sponsors technology, and you are a great fit to be a mentor for also newcomers because you know how hackathon works. But if you want to be a mentor to experienced developers, well, you should be an actual pro on the sponsored technologies, because again, remember this slide? They are going to have different problems, and the experienced developers would want you to give them actual answers for their technical questions, not just going through the process. The last thing I want to talk about is that you are going to mess things up. It happens to me, and if you want to become a mentor, it's going to happen to you. What I mean with this is that you are a human, as everyone here, we are humans, we make mistakes. And one of the teams I was mentoring, I give them a bad advice. because they were wanting to create a really cool protocol. And well, long story short, I just give them a bad advice and they waste like 3 or 4 days worth of work because of me, because I made that mistake. I apologize it, of course, but yes, most probably you are going to mess things up. And finally, I want to have some testimonials from our host and a former hackathon addict, Tippi Fifestarr. So please, Tippi, could you come in front and talk us about how it was this experience for you? Because I also tried to mentor Tippi on the last hackathon, and he has some insights and some things that he might want to share with you guys. So Tippi, could you please join us?
Yes, and if you had been 8 seconds slower, I would have done a quack because we're at 5 minutes left. Yeah, so good question. Basically, you're asking what was my experience of being mentored by you, right? What was that like? So overall, it was great to have you as a mentor. It meant that I had someone who committed to be available both emotionally and like technically available to solve some of, because we had a team that was made up of some very hackathon beginners, people who had never done a hackathon, people who had never done any coding before, and some people who had mental illnesses or disabilities that actually came into play during the hackathon and caused some chaos. And so all of those things, Chrome stepped in and personally coached me about a few things about how to respond to this or what to do with that. And we ended up spending about 2 hours debugging some code that I was sent from one of my other teammates who was very consistent, but she sent in a code block that had like 350 dependencies, meaning when I tried to install it, it took like 5 gigabytes of my hard drive space because she had sent me all of the dependencies that she uses for every project she's ever done on her computer. And that was like, I was just trying to debug it. And at the end, we realized, okay, the problem isn't actually the code, getting the code running. It's like, you got bad code and what should I do with it? And so later when Chrome and I were having a retrospective, we talked about that as something like, maybe he could have saved both of us a couple hours if he had just said, okay, this is a mess, send this message back to your teammate and let's focus you on something more productive with your time. So that's one feedback I had for him, but overall, he was great. And I think one way that you could improve would be to have some sort of template or structure, or like, because the way we did it was very informal. I would message you and say, hey, are you available Thursday, Friday? It's going to be the last couple days. And he was like, yeah, I blocked off a bunch of hours to be available to help people out in the crisis mode. Because if anybody here has been in a hackathon, you know that even if you're a very organized team, the last hours, the last day of a month-long hackathon is going to be very chaotic, and like, no, you have to expect the unexpected. So I would say it was I did not expect how valuable it was to have a friend volunteering to be a mentor and to have him sit with me and debug. And then I felt, oh, actually, I'm not an idiot, like trying to get this thing to work on Python, whatever version, because she gave me a time bomb that the thing she gave me was a bomb. So that's my.
Thank you very much, Tippi. So finally, to end my presentation and today's speech, I just want to give you an advice for everyone here. If you're ever going to host a hackathon, or if you know someone who is hosting a hackathon, be sure to have mentors. Your participants are going to be happier, the projects are going to be better, and the community you are creating are going to love you so much, they will want to participate on every hackathon you make. I made this experiment being a mentor without having a background, educational background on mentorship. I don't know if there is even a course or a degree about mentorship, but even when I'm still feel like a noob, when I'm still feel like I'm not the smartest guy or the most prepared person to mentor people on Web3, I did it anyways, and it was great. People liked it, and their projects were better, and they feel better at the end. So again, if you want to become a mentor, just do it. You have to take in mind your scope, as I already said. If you are like pretty new, try to mentor people which is also new. But if you find yourself that you have participated, let's say on 5 hackathons, 6 hackathons, you are a full stack engineer or something like that, just go and mentor people which is also experienced, because they are going to love the hell out of you. And that was it from today's presentation, people. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much.
Yay, thank you. You have about a minute.
Excellent. That was awesome.
Yeah, we have about a minute. Any questions for Chrome? Feel free to ask them now or message.
Yeah,
People
I was just curious how many hackathons total did you actually participate in before you began mentoring?
5.
Oh wow!
I
So you
participated on
just
on 5
you were
hackathons.
made for mentoring.
Kind of. I always was the team member, which was always like, okay, let's do it. But I wasn't ever the most experienced person on any team I participated.
I feel the same way. Like I've done many. I love participating, but I'm very eager now to switch to the other side. And I had an opportunity earlier this year, but it was canceled. So I'm looking for my next opportunity to be a mentor.
Yeah, I understand it. Anyone has any other question you want to ask me?
Yeah, Cromewar.
And I don't know if it's necessarily for you or for other folks on the call. And I missed the first part of the call, unfortunately, but do y'all have kind of like, what are some, if you were thinking about hosting a hackathon, what are the steps that you need to take?
Oh, that's a really difficult question. And I think that Tippi is the better suited person to answer that, because he's actually hosting a hackathon.
Yeah, we did. We talked about it a little bit in the beginning, which is recorded, and maybe in the end, Alex, when he's talking about his teach, there'll be space for that question. But we got you, Aaron, and anybody who has got their own opinion, message in the chat. But we want to, like, Pablo, let you ask your question and then pass it to Shomari.
Cheers, Tippi. Hey, Cromewar. Would you actually maybe like mentor a couple of different teams in the same hackathon, or do you just concentrate on one?
No, I mentor 4 teams, and the 4 teams were with different backgrounds and with different skills levels. So that's why I got these insights on which you should approach different teams, because one of them, they were really new to the space. They were just learning how to code, and they anyways created a really amazing project. And another colleague of mine, which I also mentored, he's a full stack engineer with a lot of experience, and he was asking me more technical questions about how to connect Morales API into his code, and that's it.
Okay, I understood by your infographic that you were talking, you had those different levels of experience within the same team. That's what I understoed. But that's really,
that also could happen. You might find a team with people really experienced and people which is also new, and they also have like this dissonance between them.
Yeah. Hey, amazing that you're doing, like, you're balancing like four teams at the one time. That's like, hats off.
Thank you. So, well, I think that's it for this presentation, right?
Yes,
Tippi?
that's right. We're at time, and
sorry, guys, I cannot spend more time here. I have to back to work, or otherwise my manager is going to get mad at me. So have a nice.
Chrome, can you share your Twitter? Do you have a Twitter?
Yeah, it's at Cromewar. I'm going to post it here on at Cromewar. Yep, here's it.
Okay, perfect.
So goodbye, everyone. Have a nice afternoon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations. I have to fly. Bye.
All right, Shomari, take it away.
Okay, I had sent you a PDF because I unfortunately on my phone I don't have Zoom on my computer. Can you share
Yes,
that PDF? Did you get it?
Yes, I suspected that you sent it to me because you wanted me to share, but you didn't say that.
I know I didn't specify. I was trying to see if I could get it working on my own, but it's I ran out of time.
Okay, so no problem. Yeah, I got you. This is why we have teamwork, right?
Thank you, appreciate
Is it
that.
working? Is it working?
Yes, I see it.
All right.
Okay, so my name is Shomari, and I'm here to talk to you about finding your place in your next hackathon. So we can go to the next slide. So basically, the idea is that we've been talking a lot, discussing hackathons, meta hackathons, and one of the #1 challenges for newcomers is understanding their role. And you know, it's very important that, especially for a first-time hackathon participant, that they feel inclusive, certainly so that they'll want to participate in a future hackathon. I think it's very important that, again, first-time hackathon participants are very aware of what to expect, not just so that they can prepare, but that they can also find, good compatibility with, whatever projects or whatever format they're participating in. So this presentation is really just to explain what the new participant, first-time participant, really should be doing throughout their hackathon, before, during, and after. So hackathon goals, initially what I would say is you want to define what is your primary goal upon completion of the event. What are you looking to achieve? So a few ideas would be, job opportunities. You are maybe a freelancer and you don't have anything permanent, but you're looking for work. And it's a great community within the hackathons in terms of sponsors and mentors, project managers that would have opportunities available, maybe short-term, long-term. Besides that, you may be a project manager yourself with your own idea and you're looking to build it out. So you may already have an MVP and you're just looking to, get to that point where you're publishing, presenting your idea, to a much larger audience for feedback, to vet the idea. It's always wonderful when you have sponsors take interest in a new project, because that does give you some validation. And then besides that, you may also be looking to recruit a team. You haven't actually started building yet. You have a great idea, but you need the talent to go with it. So, Hackathon is a great place to meet, talented people in all, various aspects of technology and life. So these are the kind of ideas that you might want to consider even before you kind of decide what kind of hackathon you're looking to participate in. And then long-term goals, you are interested in long-term career development, maybe looking for like a specific sponsor. So you have the big tech companies, Google, Facebooks, and they oftentimes sponsor these hackathons, and you may be interested in working for one of these companies. And it could be, a great idea to participate in one of their specific hackathons if you're looking to apply, say to Google, in the future. And then besides that, educational development. So you're, a high school student, you're, looking to boost your resume, or, looking to apply to schools. Hackathons are a great way to show experience, working with other people, how well you worked. Obviously, if you can win a few hackathons, that's going to show incredibly well on your resume. So next slide, thank you. And then I would kind of put if I can, into two main categories when it comes to participants. You have, especially for hackathons, you have like the leaders, and then you have what I would just call the followers to contrast. And it's important for you to decide what role you want to play, again, so that you can prepare, and also so that you, which I'll get into, you can set proper expectations for the rest of your team. So if you are prepared to be a leader because you're a full stack engineer, you've got lots of experience, and you're looking to show your stuff. I think the most important question when it comes to hackathons is how much time are you able to make for active participation? Many times you are working a full-time job, and although you are interested in participating, there's real restrictions in terms of time. Hackathons now, because they've gone virtual, we find they're much longer than they used to be, the short weekend hackathons. So hackathons can be a week long, a month long, or many months long. And it's important that if you're going to be taking a leadership role in a hackathon, that you understand the time that's going to be required of you, during the course of the event. And then to contrast, if you're, more of a beginner, newbie, and you're just looking to get exposure, to a functioning team, building something interesting, you may decide to take, more of a background as a follower, or I should say, as maybe more of an observer. With that position, I would, consider the most important criteria is to really define expectations, to communicate with your team what they should be able to expect from you, that you are new, you're interested in perhaps graphic design, but you don't have a lot of experience, so that they don't overwhelm you with responsibilities. It's always great to have someone that you can reach out to that has more experience, but you have to make them aware that you're going to have those expectations of them, so that they can allocate their time properly. So depending on which role you decide to take, it's important to make sure you communicate with your team. Specifically, I highlight the time aspect of how much time you're planning to give, for the event. Next slide, please. So specific roles, I wish I had some more time to develop this, but I as we've been meeting, discussing hackathons, I've been thinking about this quite a bit. This is not a complete list at all, but I just wanted to highlight a few areas that you can more broadly fit into. So the first area is project manager. Project management with a hackathon is so vital. And typically, there's like one person that will kind of organize the entire team. This person, I would say, most certainly would have to have the most amount of time available, time being so important, and obviously very comfortable probably with hackathons. So I wouldn't necessarily say a newbie should take a project management role for the first time, but certainly someone with some experience. Then you have the software engineers, like typical developers, the programmers, the coders. You'll have your marketing people, your social media people that will help you perhaps spread, interest during the event. It's always nice when people take notice, particularly the sponsors and the judges. You'll have your graphics, designers doing illustrations, creating, perhaps things to be posted on social media. And then content producers, I think, are really important. Presentation for hackathon is critical. And if you have experience as like an influencer, doing YouTube videos, presenting ideas, this could be one of the most valuable roles in a hackathon. So it's always good to obviously cover as much of these roles as possible, but some people might have to replicate roles. I would love the idea of having a hackathon where you have multiple people in each of these roles, particularly like the engineering and the content producing. But yeah, I mean, it's always good to have diverse team that has someone specializing in each area to really round everything out. Next slide. So during the hackathon, network. That's the number one value that you're going to receive from a hackathon is the community. So it's very important, particularly for new people to understand that, so that they don't miss that opportunity to make connections. So you always want to be asking people for their information, sharing your own information, because in the end, after everything's said and done, that's where the value is going to really be. So yeah, connect with other participants on social media. I highly recommend LinkedIn and Twitter for connecting with other people, direct connections, but there's always many other options. Ask questions from other team members to help broaden your scope of knowledge. So if you're, a graphic designer, there's no reason why you shouldn't ask about, JavaScript or, Rust development, what's going on here. And it's wonderful. When I first started, doing the hackathons, it was difficult to even communicate because I didn't have the vocabulary to communicate with the other roles, and especially graphic design. That was one of my difficulties in just kind of expressing what I was looking for. So it's always good to ask questions so you have a better understanding of how to even just become a better communicator. And then take notes. Take notes during the event, but do the research later. Time is always very, very short, and don't waste it, trying to learn anything particularly that is not 100% critical at the time. But make a note of it, and you can always come back to it later. And then most of all, during a hackathon, you must have fun. That's just something that sometimes gets overlooked, but it is the most important thing because it gives you that motivation to want to come back. So don't forget to do that. And then after the hack, you kind of have to, I guess, evaluate the experience to answer some of these questions. But in general, you want to look for perhaps pursuing work opportunities from the contacts that you made. Perhaps a sponsor took interest in you. So it's always important to follow up after the hackathon, and I think that's something that is often just forgotten. In my experience, there's just very little after the hack. So that's something I know working with Tippi, we're talking a lot about that and how to make that improve, improvements there. But in general, just quickly, will you actually pursue work opportunities at the hackathon? What is that going to entail? Are you looking for something, project-based, contract, full employment? And then highly recommend posting about your participation in the event on social media. Oftentimes, particularly like with Twitter, you can use hashtags for the event that other people will be following, searching on, so that they can discover that you were part of the event, and then hopefully add more connections there. And finally, again, just make sure that you do follow up with any new connections that you make, just to show people that you are serious. You're continuing to build and work beyond the hackathon. And I think that's something that, again, is in much need of attention. So that this area, I think overall is very weak in general, but is highly important for you to really get the most value out of the time that you've spent in the hackathon. And it does pain me sometimes from past events that I've attended, how little follow-up there is after the hackathon, and even in terms of offering contact information for people that you may have engaged with, but again, you didn't have time to make a direct connection. So do make that time afterwards as well. You might be exhausted, but within a few days, make sure you connect with anyone that you may have interest in working with down the line. And that's basically it. I think, I would love to have, as Cromewar mentioned, more experience on the mentoring side. But yeah, I think that'll happen certainly in the near future. And just to help people, especially new people, find their place, have a great experience, and subsequently, hopefully, continue competing and participating in hackathons. I'm all set. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. And if you have any
Nice.
questions, please bring them on.
Yeah, you got a minute and a half of questions, everybody. Don't miss your chance. Shomari and Clement and I all met at a hackathon almost a year ago. So we kept in touch, even though it was not easy. We did it, and here we are. So I'm really
we're
glad.
building. We're building from that. Because it just started with a contact, and we, months passed, but we connected again, and we've been growing. Next year, who knows?
Yeah, maybe we'll be at the same hackathon in the same real life. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice.
Yeah.
How big are hackathons? I mean, is it like thousands of people or hundreds?
Yeah.
In a particular hackathon, typically I would say average, I would say 200 is a good number of participants, more or less. And diverse group, all skill levels, from beginner, first time participants, to seasoned hackers. So it's a wonderful place for people to just be exposed to everything. Like, again, even from my perspective, I have a lot of high level experience building, and oftentimes I'm interested in the fresh perspective. So I'm looking to have people that are brand new to tech, so that when I'm building and I'm blinded by my code, I can still have a reasonable like the average eyes available to show me that, well, this doesn't make sense. Or can this be a little more intuitive. So it's not just about having like just the best of the best, of just highly skilled individuals. Sometimes you just want like the common person to be, there to give you fresh perspective. It's critical. It's really critical. And one thing just to really highlight, I mentioned it, is how important presentation is for hackathons. It's in my opinion, like half of the judging, I think, is influenced by your presentation. So it's not just about the technical, it's not just about the code. There's so much more to it. And if you don't balance it all out well, you're not going to win.
Yeah, I just wanted to share the Chainlink hackathon that I just completed had developer signups, 10,000 plus people signed up, and 340 projects actually. When they say 340 amazing projects, that means 340 projects that weren't scams. So there were more. Gotcha. They actually spent.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I meant 200 teams. I apologize. I said 200 individuals. I actually meant 200 teams.
And 200 teams is nice. That's a lot of people to make it to the end,
And it could be, well, that doesn't necessarily make all the make to the end. But I would say average, you get about 200 teams participating, and I'd say about half will make it to the end.
Yeah.
And then and a team could be a single person. So, you could have a lot of those. But yeah, just to answer just more completely, I would say 200 teams, half of which typically will submit through the end.
Yep. Or sometimes on these big ones, the rate of attrition is even higher because there's less like direct attention from people who care to check that people are going well. If you're a team of two and your other teammate drops out, you may just quit unless someone messages you and says, "How are you doing?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna quit." And they're like, "Whoa, don't quit. Go talk to that person." And then you could save the team. But thank you, Shomari. We're out of time, and I want to pass it to Alex so that yeah, we can finish relatively on schedule, which is all that you can expect from anything. Thank you again. Amazing. Alex, you're on mute. Classic. Wait, technical difficult. Hi, I'm Alex, and no, okay.
There it is. How are you? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Sweet. So I'm going to talk about why I think CityDAO needs a hackathon, why I think it may make sense as a reoccurring mechanism to focus energy. I think I got really excited one day about this, that I was seeing a lot of stuff. We have a few governance and monetary issues in CityDAO. One is that because CityDAO's mission is so big, like you can stuff a lot into it, and you can find a way to be aligned with the mission since it's so big. We get things that are all across the board, and sometimes that's really good. Sometimes I think it can stray too far away. The other thing that happens is when proposals come, they come in waves. So for some reason, proposals go up with like 2 or 3 teams that are proposing something, and they just come in waves. And so there's like 2 weeks where there's a ton of activity, and then it just kind of like new proposals go radio silent. And so things coming in waves is really hard, one, for just people to pay attention. It's hard to budget, like how can you budget anything if people are asking for money just randomly? And so, people ask questions like, how much money do we have, and how long can we expect it to last, and all that. So that you can't gauge it if we have no rules, basically, and any proposal that comes up can say, I need something, and the community votes on it. That's what it is. So we need a lot more structure there. And maybe contrary to popular belief, CityDAO doesn't have an infinite amount of money. And I think our goal is to try and put it in the best spots to do the most stuff that we think is useful and aligned with what we're doing. And so it's not my best meme, but I think this was, I made this and the proposal during the time when we had all these big proposals come up asking for large sums of money. Sometimes they ask for money, and like a pitch deck is like enough for the community to say, well, we should throw a bunch of money at this. And I think that's a problem. And so instead of allocating money for someone to go explore an idea, I would really like to see ideas be explored first, which maybe seems basic, but we were seeing a bunch of things that weren't explored fully, and then asking money to go explore it, which sometimes is good, and sometimes money helps. It can help individuals dedicate more of their personal time to doing something. But I think in a lot of ways, this is what CityDAO was set up to do in the first place. It started off really monolithically. It almost could have been a single issue DAO, do one thing, dissolve, and move on. But that's not what happened. And I think we are set up to basically do a bunch of experiments related to cities, what it means to be a part of cities, how they operate. You get people on the spectrum from being interested in network states or more practical things. And I want more structure around how we funnel all that stuff. Hence the funnel. Like, I think with more structure, we can funnel a lot more people into specific things, and get more bang for the buck of what we're doing. And I think what would be nice too is that, can I close this thing? Sorry. Sorry, 1 second, I lost mine. I think with a better funnel, it would help us basically have a better gate to say, this is what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. Because we were just straying a bunch. So a hackathon, I think, is the method to do that. Why? Because you allow small teams to basically go do something really specific. A lot of our proposals are, they only need a few people to do a project anyway, right? So how do you actually involve like a community of people? I think a hackathon is part of the answer for that. And it also just sounds fun. And to Shomari's point, it is part of it. I think it can be a lot of fun. I haven't done one yet, but I can understand the time frame and the intensity. It seems beneficial. And so to engage more people in the community that let's say you're not a builder. I think we have a lot of people that in CityDAO that actually aren't here to build stuff. They're here to be a part of a community, and they're here to talk about cities and all that stuff. So what I think would be really cool is that we have a host city. And so you could say, well, it's virtually taking place, but in the same way, like the World Cup and the Olympics have places, we pick a place, where do we have some people? I think it'd be fun, if people are local, they can get together and work on a project or whatever. But I think what would be really cool, kind of like the Great British Baking Show, you kind of profile it, as like stuff's going on. People can send in videos of where they are, and you get, you can do like B-roll of cities and you profile cities, so we can learn about Istanbul, we can learn about Sydney, and people can get engaged, and I think it'd be really fun. And of course, food is great. Like, I think there'd be some fun segments of what this would be. And why is this other stuff important? One, it's fun. One, you can also engage other people that aren't into the nuts and bolts. Like, they can share stuff of where they're from, and I think that's really cool. And so I think a hackathon paired with some of this other stuff to get people that aren't interested in building involved would be really cool. And it also let us leave like leave artifacts that aren't forum posts, that aren't whatever. But more importantly, at the end, like through whatever, comes through the gate, is projects that are more clearly defined, they're tighter, their team has already proved they can work together. And then we can allocate money for that, because we don't have an infinite amount, and DAOs are usually not good at making money, which is fine. But I think focusing this energy using hackathon would be really good for that. And so I'm also looking for experienced hackathoners and hackathon operators to work on this. I posted this and it's probably half baked, which Tippi will tell you. But yeah, I think it's way forward, and I think it'd be really helpful. So that's my pitch for why CityDAO needs one.
All right, well, we got 10 minutes of time. That was really a good pitch. I think we should just open it up to the community here, because we have a lot of community members of CityDAO present, some people who aren't in CityDAO, who are builders, can share your idea. We have a marketing genius, Simple Pixel Life, who would be an incredible asset on any hackathon team if you could convince him to join the hackathon, because he's not a hacker, as far as I know. So the word hackathon itself does have some bugs in it. So yeah, please, everybody, let's give Alex some love. And Alex, do you have any specific questions you want to ask?
I'll see if you guys have any questions first.
Well, I can't see. I would like to read what you have on the screen. Can you just post the link to it?
Yes, good one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
And everybody can like this, whether or not you're in CityDAO. You could just press the like button and it'll move to a vote. But which is something I wonder, like Alex, if this goes to a vote, does this exact text go to a vote, or can you write a new text?
I wouldn't let it because I know it's flawed. But that's part of the governance issue, that things go up with that just because they get likes, right? So I would like self-impose changes to it and ask for lots and lots of opinions. And part of actually what you'll see in here is there's a few question marks. And so it's intended not to be final. Sorry, I can't get the chat bar up right now.
Hi, Alex.
I'll paste it. Go ahead.
I'm Clement. I've actually looked at CityDAO, and I wanted to ask you guys about governance. This is for a while ago, actually. I've been working for governance for some time, and I'm working on something interesting. We might, it might be mutually beneficial to connect if you're interested.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the best way to reach you?
Once I get my chat open. Sorry, I'm not familiar with it.
I put the link in, by the way, for the forum post.
I saw that. Thank you.
Alex, I have a question.
Yeah.
So you were saying through a hackathon, the CityDAO can figure out which projects that they might want to invest in, right? So, say you have a hackathon and Tippi and my team wins, right? Because you're looking for projects to invest in, would the reward for winning be CityDAO investing in the project?
So I probably, yeah, that's actually one of the points why I think we need to do this, because what we saw in the last wave of people making proposals, before proposals were kind of like internal, right? They were like, well, CityDAO is going to purchase something, or CityDAO is going to do something. The new wave of proposals is saying, I have an idea, will CityDAO fund me to have my idea so I can go do it, right? And so we kind of have this external shift. And so that, I think, should be up to debate. I think one, CityDAO making investments, there's a couple legal issues with doing it and agreement stuff, but that I think we should work through. I could see it both ways. I could see winning prizes and a team could just go off and go do their own thing, and maybe that prize money is enough for them to go do it. If they need more money for something, I think CityDAO should welcome however they can support that, if it, you know, if people want to do that. Or I could almost see it being like mandatory. You gotta maybe go through a hackathon. If you want to go, then you could go make a separate proposal for a whole separate funding round if you want to do that, for like a grant to go to your project. If you want, I don't know, 50K for something, like you've kind of already vetted yourself. But we have, one of our proposals is exploring like what it means to be an actual investment and what kind of relationship would that be. There's all the legal stuff with that gets messy, but yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, yeah, because I'm just trying to think, because you want to spend some of your money on good projects that'll help the ecosystem. But I guess my question really boils down to, are you planning on making money off of these, like, are you making an investment with hopes of returns, or are they gifts because they won the hackathon, right?
They should, yeah, the hackathon, they should be prizes or grants.
Right.
I spent a lot of time worrying about making investments with returns. But yeah, I think there's probably other ways, like instead of just being direct, like here's money, we expect 5% back, or, you know, it'd be different for that kind of venture. But are there other ways, like maybe your project uses a part of the CityDAO ecosystem? So does your project need citizen NFTs to do something, or do you use like a land NFT for something, right? So I think like non-monetary ways would be preferred. but other times they should not be even related, right? If someone's interested in, I don't know, transportation, like maybe it doesn't make sense to be tied together, but investment wise, yeah, I'm not sure yet.
So it's more of the rewards are at its basic level, a philanthropic kind of thing. It's their gifts, their prizes, where you don't
Yes.
expect.
Yeah, I think CityDAO in general should be more of like a public good kind of thing instead of a for-profit. We probably should have known that a long time ago, but yeah.
Right.
And I guess, yeah, my opinion too. I would love for CityDAO to just put all its money in the best place possible. And if it doesn't return money, I hope we see something good, basically.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'll just hop on that with some of the insights I got from, I'm muting Dan. Some of the insights I get from my mentors at Protocol Labs, the way they look at their investment into hackathons and then subsequent grants is they have a funnel clearly defined, which is step one is put out free resources for people to learn, like YouTube videos, good documentation on their stuff. But then they have these hackathons where they may not organize the hackathon. They may actually just say, here's 50K, here's 1,000, here's 5,000. You guys, the hackathon organizers, you guys make a playground for people to build in, and then we'll help with the judging, and you can help with the judging. And we have to have very clear standards about how we're evaluating this and who we choose, because maybe not everyone can get a letter back to them saying, this is why we didn't choose you. Here's how you can improve. So what you do is you try your best to choose the very best ones, showcase those, give them the prize. But then what you do is, by vetting all these projects and dividing them into amazing projects, aka like not a scam, and then throw away the ones that aren't real, you actually say, all you amazing projects that didn't win the top prize or whatever, now you're eligible for grants. Now you can come into the next step of our grant funnel, and you've got an advantage over anybody who's never done anything. And so that's what Alex, I think, was trying to hit on. And then later on, after you've gotten grants, now you start talking about venture capital funding, maybe in exchange for percentages. But 5,000, 10,000, that's really not enough to get a huge protocol off the ground.
Yeah. Sure, I just lost my train of thought.
Sorry about that.
Like a lot of proposals now, like they're in the same realm of like, well, we need some money to do something. Most of the stuff that people are doing or interested in, they're experimental, and there's little to no chance they actually return money, which is like I think part of the space, or part of like DAO energy, is the space to do the weird stuff that you couldn't go do somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah.
Pixel, go for it.
Okay, thanks, Tippi. So, Alex, maybe the question for you or for everybody. So, I've been investigating the hackathons like for 2 weeks. It's just new. So, I'm trying to meet some people, learn more about the whole process, let's say. So, I have two terms in my mind. So, one of them is hackathons, and the other is hacker house. So what is the basic difference between two terms? I have my own answer, but I want to hear your feedbacks, comments about this one. If you do have.
Is everybody waiting for me to go, or Clement, can you answer this one?
I actually didn't hear the question because I was focusing on the chat. I apologize.
Oh, the question, so as I understand it, Simple Pixels asking, what's the simple difference between a hackathon and a hacker house? And in my mind, a hackathon is an event. So it's got a start date and an end date, and it's got criteria. It's got maybe some specific educational resources that are there for the attendees. Usually it's either internal or external. Internal hackathon might be what CityDAO needs is that if you're in CityDAO, you can do it. Or Microsoft offers an internal hackathon where they trick their employees into staying up all night and give them free pizza or whatever. External hackathons are like where you say, we're CityDAO, anybody come and build on our protocol. Here's our repos, here's our documentation, here's what we want you to do. We're going to judge it and get blah, blah, blah. So an external hackathon could be open to internal elements as well, or have rules against people that are in the thing competing. A hacker house is a place. It's built around maybe someone sponsoring the hacker house, but the idea is this is a group of people. Maybe they're all working on the same project. Maybe they all have different projects and they're in the same space so that they can help each other out and communicate ideas. But a hacker house might not have an end goal, like you have to produce X after this much time, or there might be some requirements. That's my basic simple pixel difference.
Okay, thank you, Tippi. So as far as I understand from the, let's say, the guys or the communities that I talk with, so the hacker house is like this a small one for the hackathons. I mean, it's not the same. There are up and downs for the hacker house, but what I've been told about this hacker house, so you gather some teams and inform them about the topics that you want to investigate or let's say work for them. And let's lock down for 2 or 3 days in a small apartment or let's say villa, and they work for your topic, and then after 2 days you get the results for your let's say topic. I mean, it seems like a hackathons, but in a different way, like a small hackathons, it seems to me. But as far as I understand from your answer, it's not the same thing, right?
I mean, I haven't ever been in a hacker house other than being in a house with other people while working on a hackathon. But I know Sarah, Sarah Phillip, whatever her name is, Sarah, who's doing the educational DAO thing. She got signed into a hacker house, I think, which was kind of more like framed as an incubator. You go in and you already have an idea, and the person whose house it is welcomes you in and says, that's a good idea, come on in, here's a free house, and here's free 5 meals a day, go, or whatever, go eat, go work, and then at the end of it, show us what you did. Whereas a hackathon, it's very open, like anybody can apply. You could have crazy guys like me coming in with no idea whatsoever, and then during the hackathon, you find an idea by like learning, what is CityDAO? I don't know. Okay, I'll spend the first couple days going to the workshops, listening to the lectures, reading the documentation. Oh, I know what CityDAO is, kind of. How about this idea? You might post in the chat, and then people hack on that idea, or you get a team together based on your idea.
Okay, guys.
Time's up. Time's up.
I gotta, we gotta jump. I just realized for the time. I have a hard stop, unfortunately, guys. Can we possibly wrap up quickly, or how much longer?
Yeah, we're done as far as I know. Alex did his thing. We got questions, simple, got to learn something. Is there any last questions anybody wants to throw in before I stop recording and Shomari runs?
Just one point, simple Pixie. You said that ETH Istanbul's coming up next March. Is that correct?
Actually May, so it's not official. They are still trying to make it happen. I will update you all about this.
No, it's not I had something that I wanted to say. Actually, we had like I live in the Netherlands. We had ETH Amsterdam May this year, and basically I opened up my house because like Amsterdam's a really expensive city, and I live like about half an hour from Amsterdam. And basically I opened up my house for a bunch of people from Developer DAO, and people just came and stayed here. So it was like a 9-day hacker house, and there weren't teams working together, but it was somewhere where people could come and stay, and and sometimes eat together and stuff like that. So it was just a social space. So it also qualifies as a hacker house, like temporary one.
great hacker ass.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Good way to really good way to meet people as well. Yeah, that's where I met Gaddy, John. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for coming. This has been Teach Anything. See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a
Take
good
care,
day.